So last week I spoke, and I think it was like maybe Thursday before last week, and I got a call from Michael in the office, and he says, I don't know if there's a glitch here or what, but they've got you down for speaking this week, but they also have you down for next week, and I don't know what the talk title is, and I had just walked out of my house after a very frustrating experience. Like I was like really frustrated, something I clearly needed to let go of, and I said to him, the talk title is, and I said a swear word, and then I said, surrender. And he said, should I put that in the bulletin? He said, I think we'll get a lot of people in. And I said, no, I don't think so. And I wanted to let it go, but I couldn't. It was like, you got to talk about surrender. It's what you're having to live right now in your life. You got to talk about surrender. So here I am. And then what was interesting, too, is I came across a talk by Reverend Kira in Houston. I have this gravity towards the ministers, the Unity ministers in Houston, Michael Gott and this woman, Kira. And her talk title was Surrender the Superpower. I'm like, I'm taking that talk title. I was like, because I like that idea of having this thing that sometimes is so hard for me to do. Because in my mind, it's like giving up or giving in. It's like waving the white flag. And that's not what we're talking about here. It's surrendering over to something else that's within us, that knows the truth of who we are, that knows what's in our highest good. It's that giving up, and it's that giving over. It's letting go of the idea that I can control something. It's such a lie, It's like, probably can't control anything. I learned that when Michael died. I thought I could even control my emotions, and then I couldn't even do that. I was just out of control. My emotions were all over the place. So it's not a giving up. It's trusting the divine intelligence that's within each and every one of us. It's allowing the ego to let go. What if surrender, I'm just going to ask the question, what if surrender is the superpower that we actually need to allow the universe to support us and move us forward in ways that bring harmony and joy and peace and freedom and prosperity? What if that's the one thing that we need to do? Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, there are times that I stand in God knowing that this is what I ought to do, and standing in that and saying, this is mine and I'm going to claim it. But there also has to be times that I have to say, I have to hand this over. It's not one or the other all the time. It's a dance of receiving and giving. It's a knowing that I can claim my good, affirm what is mine or ours, and then there is a time for hands off and trust God. There, in Coda, they used to say, you got your God shoes on. You think you got your God, take your God shoes off, because you're not God. Like, let it go. This is not yours to do. And we don't have to do either one of those all the time. What do I need now? There's a directive there. I claim my good, and then there's the receptive. I surrender. Now, I'm going to speak of Jesus of Nazareth. Why? Because he's our way shower. He showed us the way. He had this way of being and connecting with that God within him, that he was able to show us the way. And during this season, especially, in Luke 22:42, Jesus says, Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. He didn't want to be crucified. He was like, take this away. And at the same time, he said, not my will, but thy will be done. I mean, think about that. He knows he's going to die, but yet he's still handing it over to that place in him that knows what is in his highest good, knows what his journey was in this lifetime. So, it's interesting because the last words of Jesus' life in Luke 23:46 was, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. That's a surrender. And he took his last breath after that. Now, if he could do that then, can we do it when we have to let go of something on this earthly life that we live? When we think of peace and joy and abundance, or that is going to come from the perfect career or the right relationship or enough financial abundance, we think it looks like these things. We think peace and joy and freedom look like the right job, the right person, the right financial abundance. But that's the lie, right? That's what our ego is telling us. The truth is, what we really seek is a sense of freedom, of feeling alignment with God, alignment with that oneness in us that knows that truth, that we are one with all that is. And to let go and to begin to learn, oh, this is a good one. Begin to learn through joy and not suffering. What do you think of that? Wow, that would be really awesome, right? I'm up. I signed me up for that one. To learn through joy. What a concept. For millennia, we learn through suffering, and we share our suffering. We share it, and then we outdo one another's suffering, right? We tell stories, and then say, oh, I got a better one for you on what I had to do. What's up with that, The universe has a whole other message for us when we are open to receiving the idea that it's already here right now. Our joy, our peace, our harmony, our freedom is here right now. The universe, or God consciousness, the Christ in us, has our highest and best interest in store for us if we allow it to happen. It's our resistance to what is in this moment, not our allowing the universe to move us or thinking it should be different, that my or our need to control it in some way may be safe. Creates this whole dynamic that has us in resistance to energy and struggling with what is in this moment. Surrender is one of the most powerful things that Jesus taught us during the Easter holiday. When he came to the moment and said, take this cup from me, it looks like crucifixion, but what is it? Ultimately, it's resurrection, right? It's about rising above. We have no way of knowing the limitless that the universe or God has in store for us when we are clinging to control. Ask me, I know. I cling to it. I used to cling to it a lot more than I do now, and I still cling to it, like the other day. I thought I knew better. We only learn and see it when we let go and surrender. That's when we see the limitlessness. Something is moving us to the light, something that is a mystery in this moment. In the moment of darkness, when we are not sure, when we are dealing with the unknown, we think, if I manage this, or this, or this, I'm going to feel more comfortable. Well, you might feel more comfortable in that moment. But when we let go and we allow the universe to reveal itself, the possibilities of that greater good are so incomparable to feeling comfortable. But we have to allow that to happen. We live from our physical body, right? We could see, we could hear, we could feel. But God said, we are not our body. We are the I am. Our identification is the I am presence. When we begin to live from knowing the truth of who we are set free in a very different way. Yes, we have ears and eyes to see and to know that I am more than this and more than what this life has taught me to focus on, which is what we see and what we hear. It taught me and us to focus on the world. And it's okay to have the worldly things, but we are in the world, not of the world. The truth is, battery.
Back up.
There you go.
Push the button. Thank you. Okay, there we go. The truth is, we are something so much greater. And when we let go and allow ourselves to surrender into that which is moving us forward, to experiencing what is in this moment, I don't need to label it good or bad or right or wrong. I just need to experience it in the right now moment. In this moment, in surrender, the universe will pop in with ideas, or people will show up that you had no idea could be able to help you, that I had no idea that they would be able to get you to the next level, or what you need to get out of your resistance in that moment and help you get to the other side of whatever it is. Thinking the same thoughts over and over again do what? Give you the same results, right? And thinking you're going to get different results is what?
It's crazy.
Crazy, yeah. When we let go and go into our inner place, we're in flight. We go in to fly. We go in to release. In an awareness that there is so much more in this universe that we think is possible, becomes something opens up that I could not have perceived from a place of closing down my own possibilities and limits, wanting to do it my own way from my mind. When I am not in surrender, I think I know. And the minute I think I know, I've created limitations. Because my knowing is based on my ability to see and hear and understand from the ego. When I let go and say, I don't know, but I'm going to flow with this and see what shows up, I know the universe will have a powerful lesson for me. Many teachings come back to a first step of surrender. Many teachings, many faith teachings come back to surrender, letting go. I am powerless over this greater experience. When we begin to let surrender be our first step, and let the superpower take over in every circumstance and situation, we allow the potential for something magnificent to move forward, to move us forward. Surrender is not a place where we are going into with that ugh. Like the other day when I had to swear before I said the word, I wasn't really surrendering, right? I was just like angry. It's really about knowing to let go and let God. Like truly, it took me a few minutes. After I heard myself say that to Michael and we got a laugh, I was able to say, okay, now I could let go. Surrender is letting go while staying in joy. There. Now that's, if you take anything away, take that away today. Surrender is letting go while staying in joy. We all face challenges, right? Relationships, financial, aging, memory, what's happening in the world, our country, not knowing where we're going next. Yet in surrender, I allow the universe to take me to my greatest, highest good. The minute I surrender with ease, my joy, my soul saying, I can't wait to see how this turns out. In that moment, it may not be easy. We really give the power to something greater in us. That moment, we absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that God is working on our behalf. The problem is we don't trust. We don't trust that. We don't trust the universe or God. We don't trust that it is moving us in our highest good. So we get in the way by holding that resistance. And it's so interesting because so many times, I mean, I'm no spring chicken, and I have had to let go so many times and been able to experience this amazing joy, freedom, but I still sometimes hang on with claw marks, claw marks. We spend so much time trying to figure it out. Once you hear yourself, I'm going to figure it out, what's happening? Your ego has stepped in and you're trying to control it. As soon as you hear that, that should be your red flag. Okay, I got to let go. If I'm trying to figure this out, I need to let go. We have free will to choose how we will respond to what is brought forth by the universe moment by moment. We surrender to the great good that is happening and then look for it to reveal itself. With no worry or angst. No need for things to be different than they are in order for us to be okay. Does that make sense? No need for anything outside of us to be different for us to be okay. We are already okay. We're better than okay. The walls of the mind that keep us in perpetual suffering can be set free in the realization that we are going to choose each moment and surrender into the now and be with what is and be in joy. What are the new ways you're willing to be in the now, to be in the mystery, to be in the surrender? When I surrender, I start to notice the universe is showing up for me. Oh, this idea came and oh, this person showed up and oh, I don't feel like I have to do it alone anymore. So one of the things I want to read, I had this whole story about surrender and then this article from Krista Tippett came and it's called Grace in Aging, because I struggle every day with this aging thing. And I've got a pretty good life. I've got health, I've got everything, a lot of things going for me. But to see me physically aging is a struggle. So this is what she says, which was so helpful. To inhabit my body in all its grace and its flaws appears as a gift for the now mundane bodily territory I'm on in midlife. I wish I could say I'm in midlife. This is not midlife. This is beyond midlife for me. But anyway, aging is the ultimate slow motion loss, inevitable for all of us. Not necessarily, because a lot of people don't make it to be old, right? So there's a gift right there. Anyway, inevitable for us all. And yet somehow for me and everyone I know, it's come as a surprise. You hit a point where it's no longer so incremental and no longer amenable to cover up. The original dance between order and chaos takes over our bodies inside and out, even with lots of yoga. I'm here to attest to that. As I watch my children move, well, I don't have children, but this was helpful to hear her say this. As I watch my children move through their primal metamorphosis of adolescence, I remember that, I made a decision to be fascinated rather than terrified. I'm trying to impose that same discipline on my reaction to myself on this end of aging's metamorphosis. There is grief to be had, to be sure, and fear, and lots of simple dismay. But settling into this as best I am able, I experience a wholly unexpected gift of contentment. Now that I agree with. There are places in my life I'm very content. It's the body thing that not so much. Contentment is not something I've known much in my life and not something I've ever really known I wanted. This too is the body's grace, a gift of physiology right there alongside my fading hair and skin. At younger ages, our brains are tuned to learn by novelty. At this stage in life, they incline to greater satisfaction in what is routine. Slowing down is accompanied by space for noticing. I am embodied with an awareness that eluded me when my skin was so much more glow. I became attentive to beauty in ordinary, everyday aspects of my life. There was nothing more delicious than my first cup of tea in the morning. That is so true. Mine's coffee, though. Like that, it's so great to wake up and have that cup of coffee, whereas in the past I would have it on the run, right? Now it's just having the coffee. That's great. There's nothing more delicious than my first cup of tea in the morning. No experience more pleasurable than when my son, much taller than me, wraps me in a hug. No view I find more breathtaking over and over again than the white pine that stands day in and day out behind my backyard. I was just like, wow, what a great way to help me put aging into perspective. Something that hopefully we all have to let go of, right? That's the goal, is that we stay here for a long time and we get to let go a little bit more every day. So, when joy, my or our joy, is not based upon what happens out here, this is the greatest gift of surrender. So to be in joy with where my body is right now, to be in joy with contentment, and find that contentment when I find myself thinking something different about my body. Like what I said earlier, I am very healthy. I am very flexible. So let me focus on that rather than the things that I'm not liking about it. Even though that's still outside of myself. It's a step in the right direction. When we become like a child, when we enter the kingdom. So I don't know if you remember that in the Bible, that Jesus said, be like a child. The reason is, in childlike wonder and awe, helps us begin to access that greater awareness and begin to open to possibilities, right? In a kid's mind, anything is possible. Anything. They have these amazing stories they could tell you. Because they're not saying, oh, that won't work. Oh, that can't happen. Oh, that'll never work. No, that's us as adults. So get back into that childlike place and open to what the universe has to show. The divine in me will guide me, knowing that my only job is to stay in joy, to see God consciousness working on my behalf in every moment. The more I see that, the more I am in childlike wonder, and the more I have surrendered and am living from my superpower. Surrender into the now and see what shows up. Look what is possible. I want each of you, each of us, to open up to that possibility of the superpower of surrender. So the invitation is, see if there's a place in you that does not trust. Then notice it and just say, let's surrender that. Be willing to open to something that you have not yet known, to a possibility that you have not been there before. Give into it. And I want to go back to Jesus, the man that cured the sick, forgave everyone, raised the dead. Many historians agree He is the most impactful human being to walk this earth in terms of his teachings, his presence, his actions, changed in human history. The most powerful man in history, you might say, his final prayer was a prayer of surrender. Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. It's not an either-or dance. We are here to be change agents for good. We are here to call into being the very life of our dreams, our deepest desires, and we are here to surrender to the greater life that is waiting for us. Jesus says, with God, all things are possible. The problem is, we aren't always with God. Now, the spring equinox always shows us, any of the seasons, anything that's going on in nature is always showing us that there are deeper rhythms in life, in nature, in earth, all created by God. We know intuitively when we're tired, we rest. When you're feeling ungrounded, go sit on the ground leaning up against a tree. When you're feeling like none of this makes sense, observe nature, observe the seasons, because that's where the miracle is. Watch when a flower comes to life and then dies. It's the cycle of life that we get to witness day in and day out. Connecting to these deep rhythms of life is inevitable for each of us. God wants us to do magnificent things for you and through you. Are you willing to be open to a bigger idea of who you are than you've ever been before? So come to the spring equinox and spend some time in the quiet and see what that is. We're going to talk about the balance and talk about what it is that we should be planting seeds for and being open to growing as the light gets stronger and longer every day. So I invite you to know the amazing grace that flows through your life when you surrender. When you open to this now moment, whatever circumstance you are experiencing, whatever that may be, allow the universe and God to move you, to inspire you, to bring forth limitless possibilities. And as you do, you will be living from the now superpower of surrender. I want to say thank you. I'm your sister in prayer, Possibility and Power. I see you, I appreciate you, and I love you. And until we see each other again, know that you are blessed and a blessing.